The decorations are down, the last of the peanuts has been tidied away from the settee, and the terrible telly is over for one more year. What perfect timing for this festive edition of Bring Your Own Ball. Behind me, three wise men, a general manager bringing gold, a board member bringing frankincense, and a vegan bringing a tofu-based dish that nobody will eat. Andy Walsh will find out exactly what it's like to be interviewed by a man in a red chair. We've got many pictures of lads kicking balls about and something to do with the National Football Museum. Let us pray. Yes, later, board member Alan Hargrave and comedy madcap character Swampy will be along to sit down and speak English with me on this very sofa. But as this is the Christmas special of the future award-winning Bring Your Own Ball, the producers thought that we needed to wheel out the big guns. The initial plan was to make a sequel of The Snowman in which the title character is melted by a flare smuggled into the game by people known to the police as Category C football hooligans, known to you and I as football supporters. However, as we all fully support the league's stance on the matter of pyrotechnics, that idea remains on ice. You wrote that when you were drunk, and we need to speak about it later. Don't patronise the viewer. So, to add to that much needed Yuletide glitz, here is FC United's general manager, Andrew Kevin Buthnot Walsh.
Hey.
Welcome. Surprised we haven't had you here sooner, Andy, but there we are.
You have to get things right first, haven't you?
There we are. Okay, get the royalty in later. We didn't have the Queen's speech on in our house, so this is the nearest we're going to get to it. How's the season gone so far?
I think it's gone better than any season we've had, but it's not lived up to everybody's expectations. I think, in a nutshell, I think people expect us to do a little bit better than we have been doing, but we're currently placed in the league better than we've ever been in at this point in previous seasons. So we've got to be satisfied, really.
Slow start as it's been lately, but a lot of consistency more recently on the pitch.
I think that consistency's been measured by having a settled back line. Through injuries and suspensions, we've not been able to field our strongest defence, and that's when we've had the best back four in. We've managed to put a run of results together. How
important is it, do you think, to go up this season after just missing out? I mean, how many times is it going to get to that last stage?
I think it's all, you've got to remember we are a football club. Some people would say we're a political movement out to transform the commanding heights of the economy, but we are still a football club, and as a football club it's important you do progress on the pitch. I think that means performances have got to be there to keep people entertained, but also you've got to then see promotion as a possibility. Getting to the playoffs last few years has obviously been a success for us, but really I think everybody at the club now wants to get that promotion place.
We all know that going into a new ground in Moston, it'd be great to be up a league as well. But talk to me about Moston. There was that dissent, and I saw you addressed it in the Manchester Evening News, saying, well, actually, I've got full respect for people who want to protest and things like that. Do you think gradually, though, as this is coming round, that people are more and more coming round to the idea of FC being there?
Yeah, I think it's understandable that residents in the local area will be concerned about a development such as ours going in there. People are concerned about what's going to happen on a match day more than anything else, with traffic and disturbance to their Saturdays. But through the week, I live near United's ground, and through the week you hardly know it's there, and the real benefit of the ground going into Moston is going to be the increased footfall in local shops, and the economic spend is going to be in the local area, as well as the things that we can bring for local youth and people living on the estates that the ground can actually bring, not just the football but other activities we can bring at the ground.
Does that include a suspended water table pitch?
It might very well do.
Tell us what that is in less than 7 years.
we've got our eye on having the best possible pitch we can afford, and suspended water table pitches are on the agenda at the moment.
Which basically, that's like a floating thing, but it doesn't really, you wouldn't know it was floating if you were playing on it, and it's to stop games being called off.
You've been moving up on this, haven't you?
I have not, but I guess what it, I mean, it sort of says it, the clue's in the title, really, isn't it?
I mean, I couldn't put it better myself, Andrew.
I'm asleep again.
Good, let's not. But generally, funds being raised for the development fund. This the Barwell barrels, 50k, probably by the time this goes out, will be passed. I mean, I think this that includes a New Zealand $10, so that'll take it over the edge, I think.
Fantastic. No, I think the fundraising that members and supporters have put in over the last 8 years has been nothing short of fantastic. The money that's raised in the barrels is just one element of it. You know, we've raised the best part of £2 million in community shares. We've raised close on £700,000, I think, to the development fund all told, and that kind of fundraising has given the confidence to other funders such as Sport England, Football Foundation, City Council, giving them the confidence to then put their money behind it, so we can actually develop the facility that we want. I think we've still got quite a long way to go. Whilst we've raised a lot of money so far, we've targeted ourselves with raising £200,000 to £300,000 during the course of the build, and additional community shares as well as development fund, and that's important for us to get the ground that we actually want.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, still, you can donate foreign currency, unwanted stuff, you know, like I've done. Important to put a bit back. So, 2014, what constitutes success for you?
I think the ground has got to be the key target. Obviously, we want to see ourselves get promoted, but the ground has got to be the key target. Getting that opened in time for the start of the season, and then everybody being able to then enjoy that as our own home and be able to put our own mark on the football in Manchester. And
just briefly, do you think having a proper base and a proper office, like Neil Warnock always has, you know, in one place without having to go up and down Gig Lane and so forth, does that mean more or less work for you?
I think it's going to be important for the whole club that we've actually got one base. You know, at the moment we've got an office in Ancoats, we train in Ardwick, and we play our games in Bury. To actually have one base where we can have the whole club administration, the team training, the team playing, place where fans can come along, somewhere that is really their home, where the fans themselves can actually then start to have a say in how we shape the future of the club. Because the last few years it's largely been led by myself and by the board as to how the club shaped up, and that initial energy we had in the first 3 or 4 years, where everybody threw their hands to the pump, has continued, but the wait to get the ground built has taken some of that energy away, and I think we'll see that an increase in that energy over the course of the next 12 months.
Brilliant, and I just hope there's a stand for Swampy's bike. Seamlessly, let us go to Moston, not literally, you don't even have to move from your seat, but with the aid of cameras at the flourishing building site that will become FC United's new ground. In part to document the build, the National Football Museum has a new artistic project called Breaking Ground. Stare straight ahead for 5 minutes now, in which you will discover what on earth, see that's better, that's more subtle, what on earth went on at the launch.
I'm John O'Shea, I'm here on behalf of the National Football Museum. This is Neville Gaby, who's the artist who we're commissioning for a project, and Jason Wood, who's an archaeologist, and together we've been developing a project which it's just at the very start. It's called Breaking Ground, and the idea is that we want to document key moments in important football clubs in England as a national museum. And obviously there's different ideas about what's important. Some people would say Chelsea or Manchester United, that they're very important, and they are important, but the things which we want to look at with this project are actually very key historic moments that are important in a real sense. So a few weeks ago, a rival of yours, Bradford Park Avenue. So they, in the 1970s, their major stadium went into disuse. FC United, in a sense, you're almost like the mirror image to where their stadium has disappeared. You've got a stadium that is about to appear.
We're going to actually excavate the goalpost hole.
So we're going to record the actual excavation of the hole in which your goalposts will be set. And that will mirror the excavation I did at Bradford Park Avenue, which is excavating where the goalpost hole was. And so again, it's this nice reversal of images.
So I need people pretty much to fill where the tables, where the chairs, ladders, scaffolds are, if I can.
As the bells strike.
Yeah.
All the bells strike.
Yeah. Find any badger nests or something. Dirty old town. This is our club. Belongs to you and me. We're united. United FC. We'll never go home, but we'll never feel down when we build our own ground. When we build our own ground.
Very much. And yeah, very willing and enthusiastic sort of participation, so it was great, it was really good.
And I know you've done it before, could you just tell us what the project is?
Well, I think the idea is really to, we're working with the National Museum in Manchester, and they wanted to do a project which was off-site, which explored football more at its grassroots, and we were really interested in the fact that Bradford Park Avenue was a huge club actually in its day, with an Archie Leeds stand, and a club which over the last 50, 60 years has really gone into decline. And we wanted to explore that as one story, because there's so much association and attachment to that place, and do an archaeological dig on that site and mirror that really by following the birth of a new football club completely, you know, with the move to their new ground in Manchester. So the idea was really to look at both, to look at people's enthusiasm and passion for football, lower league football if you like, but following a club which had a really big history and is now trying to rebuild, with a new club which is just really in its infancy really. So that's the idea in simple terms, and we want over the course of the next year to do a really big archaeological dig at Bradford Park Avenue with a number of artists, archaeologists, community involvement, and to replicate that in some way in Manchester, so following the build and you know, the first months or year in the new stadiums. That's the idea. We'll have these two projects which mirror each other. I think what we're going to do in the short term is we're going to do a small exhibition, probably at the museum in Manchester, which will have the photograph from here and the photograph from Bradford Park Avenue, some of the things we dug up you know, in the archaeological dig, and we're using that as a basis for a bigger funding application, so we can bring on other artists to do a much bigger project through late spring, early summer, autumn of next year. So this is the first step with a small exhibition at the museum for a much larger project.
Brilliant, thank you.
Breaking ground there in Moston. Okay, we've kept them locked away long enough. Please welcome back to the four leather couch FCUM Radio's Swampy and FC United board member Alan Hargrave. A warmish Christmas welcome to you both. As nobody's interested what you got for presents, let's see some football and then ask you to talk about that. First up, a thriller from earlier in the month as FC United took on Surprise Package. See, that's good. People like that because it's Christmassy. Anything like that the viewers love. They're enjoying that. Worksop Town, the Surprise Package, a side who, with the benefit of a month's worth of hindsight, are clearly potential title challengers. Commentators for this one, Sam Huddart and Roy Williamson.
And welcome everybody to Gig Lane for this Evo 6 Premier Division fixture. FC United Manchester versus 4th place Worksop Town. Just run through the visiting side to start with. In goals, number 1 Jan Butts, number 2 Alex Pursehouse, number 3 Phil Rowe, 4 Jake Scott, 5 Adam Quinn, 6 Lawrence Gagan, 7 Jack Muldoon, 8 Shane Clark, 9 Tom Denton, And number 10, the leading scorer in the league with 18 goals, is Liam Metham, the captain. 11 is Connor Higginson. And the subs for Works Uptown: Josh Williams, Jack Adams, Reece Twell, Jack Barnett, Shaq McKenzie. And Sam, welcome, the FC side.
Thanks, Roy. In goal for FC, John Worsnop, Liam Brownhill at right back, Lee Neville at left back, Dave Birch, the captain, at number 4, Charlie Ragland and Lewis Lacey. 5 and 6, Matty Wolfenden, Greg Daniels, Tom Greaves, Callum Byrne, Ashley Mulholland. On the bench for FC, Mike Norton, Nelson Motta, Joe Fox, Sergio Rodriguez and Andy Pearson. We can go 1 point behind these, Roy, if we win. They've got a very good away record, Works up, but they can concede goals. Referee checking everything's alright. Dominic McDonald. 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon. That's where it's at, isn't it, Roy?
Well, they fought themselves back into 5th place, FC United, so need to keep that run going. And there's a goal. Oh no, that was Tom Denton, number 9, from a corner on 13 minutes. And that's the last thing that FC wanted. Well, they're up against it here, aren't they, against this side? But you can't let free headers in the box like that. Very poor defending. The Works uptake. The lead.
So, defending well. FC Greaves. Oh, lucky. Tom Greaves. The ball arrived at his feet, and before he knew it, the keeper was in front of him. Lofted it over the top. Wolfie. Offside. Offside. Metham, the captain, top scorer in this division. Looks like he fancies it as well, and that's in a better position than that FC free kick a couple of minutes ago. A bit further out. Metham, not bad, over the top.
Coming through here now. Shot coming in. Oh, just over the bar there from Ashley. Well, that opened up, didn't it? .35 minutes gone, FC a goal behind. Two yellow shirts on, one red here. Oh, and here they go in the box. And he puts it away, 2-0. Jack Muldoon, well caught out at the back, FC United there. Really caught out. Two yellow shirts on one red. And really there was only going to be one outcome. And you've got to say, to be perfectly honest, they had a better side in this first half. Works Uptown. And looking a decent side, certainly.
Jake Scott standing over it. Back post, looking for Adam Quinn. Quinn gets on the end of it, against the bar. Oh! And Tom Dent from about 2 yards out, knocks it wide, but... Come on, Reds, let's put some pressure on them. Red shirt, give it a red shirt. Good ball, inside, Callum Byrne. Oh, Tom Greaves! Daniels, yes! Come on, Tom! Well, a good passage of play from FC. Daniels knocks it in. Well, it's what we asked for. 5 minutes of this second half gone. Yeah, just what we needed. Birch knocks another one forward for Tom Greaves. We get the second ball again. Wolfie, good ball. Ashley Mulholland. Yeah! Tom Greaves! Get in there, Greavesy lad! Come on, Reds! Get in there! Oh, he's been struggling up front, Tom Greaves. On his own up front. Knocks one in at the back post. Get in there, Greavesy lad. 2-2. Short at the back because we're putting him on the case, aren't we? Go on, press him, Reds. Go on, Astley. That's not a bad header. Doesn't get it, Lee Neville. Dangerous. Oh, lofted over the top. Connor Higginson. Open game, no.
But, yeah, it's all right. I'm sorted. Still got to keep tight, though. FC at the back, because they ain't going to change it, are they? They're going to play the same way. Oh, nice play. No. Penalty. Stupid, Lee Neville, that. Stupid. No, you're right. Absolutely no need for that, you know. There was another red shirt coming across, and we could be back to square one here. Oh, Lee Neville got to book for that, but he must have known he was in the box there, Nev. Well, there was another red shirt coming across. Some bit of shenanigans going on, but it's a penalty to Worksop. 59 minutes on the clock. Who's this? Higginson, is it, number 11? Metam, is it, number 10? Yeah. Well, that was a simple giveaway, I thought. There was plenty of shirts in the box there. Do anything there, Lee Nev, but tap his ankle. So just as we approach the hour, Worksop go back in front. FC got to build again now. Brownell, he's not had much of the ball this half so far. Actually, it wasn't Brownell, was it? Oh, that's a good pass. Greaves. Yes! Greaves scores! Yeah, Greaves scores! Well, that was all Greaves, that. Ball played through into the box. He had a man on his shoulder. And Tom Greaves gets his second of the day. And well done, Tom Greaves, because he's really been up against it this afternoon. And that puts FC United level again. Well, we're getting a cracking second half, that's for sure. Well done, Tom Greaves. Oh, do you know what? If he could have got it over this way. Oh, that's a good ball, though. Shirts in the box, over it comes. Burn, oh, another shot coming in. Was he given offside? Corner.
'80th minute. Norton wins header. Greaves knocks one over his shoulder, looking for Wolfie. Wolfenden! Yes! Get in there, Matty! Boom! Get in there, Matty, lad! What a finish! And I felt you never thought that was going to drop. You thought it was always going to be too high for him, and he just leant back and nailed that one into the top corner. Get in there, Matty Wolfenden. What a finish! And with 10 minutes to go, there's possibly more goals in this. What a finish!
That's a great ball into the box. Still got it though, Workshop. Well, they did have it. Ooh, I think he's hurt, Nev. Carrying on though. Oh no! Equaliser, 4 each. '85 minutes. And it was slow motion, that really, wasn't it? Well, what a game this has been. 4 each. Was it Liam Metten, the number 10? League's top scorer. He was so close to it, Worsnop, as well, wasn't he? Chested down, that's a ball to Motta. Can he get it across? He can. Norton, oh, unlucky. What a brilliant cross. Good effort, Mike Norton. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Just didn't get the angle right, did he, Notes? Still FCUM. Ball over towards Motta. Birch foot in, it's not a great one. Well, the referee blows it. You can't argue with the score there, 4 apiece, but what a terrific game of football.
Alan trying to look interested for the next couple of minutes here. Swampy, you covered that one for FCUM Radio. Where to start with that one? At the beginning, please.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a very, very interesting game of football. The first 45 minutes, Workshop, a team who scored, well, the highest goal scorers in the division, absolutely pulverised FC United in all fairness. And they were, 2 goals worthy of going in at half-time. And, you set your stall out at Gig Lane, and teams that can come there that scoring a lot of goals have been shown that they can get behind and penetrate FC United's defence. However, in the second half, things changed around dramatically. That opening 10 minutes was vitally important, and getting those two goals so early was vitally important. And then it was a ding dong of a game, really. Mackerel by any chance? Philip Mackerel.
Lovely that.
Yeah, okay, no problem at all.
Well, I can do something with that. I don't even know what it is.
And basically, the game went backwards and forwards. We got ourselves in front. A tremendous, what we thought was going to be a winning goal from Matty Wolfenden, absolutely superb. A howler of a goal, in fairness. And again, right at the death, they go and get an equaliser. Finishes 4-4. But for £8, great value for money, and a terrific game of football. And the honours, even.
Like you said, absolutely pulverised at one point. Top scorers, and Liam Metten, top scorer in the division there.
Yeah, 29 goals now.
Got 2, and at one point you just thought absolutely no chance for this one. It could have been any score, and then all of a sudden you'd gutted to not get the 3 points.
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, the one thing that they've done at Workshop is that they've scored a lot of goals, but they've also conceded a lot of goals as well. And you saw the frailties in their defence, really. And FC United, you give a little bit of room, we'll murder teams. It's simple as that. We really will get on top of them and get them 2 early goals. And when you see a goal like Matty Wolfenden's, which you think's a winner, it is devastating that you end up with a 4-4 draw. But they in reality they deserved the point, I suppose, because from the first half perspective they could have been well away. It could have been 3 or 4. Metten could have scored maybe 2 or 3 more himself, and 4-4, as I say, terrific game. I got a bit more. That one's sardines, if you like that.
I think one of the other things about that game that I noted at the end, I was outside when the supporters were coming out at the end, and yes, it was gutting to lose a late goal like that, but everybody was buzzing outside. It was proper value entertainment. It was really, really good, and I think sometimes you forget about that. You know, Carl was gutted at the end for about dropping a couple of the points or whatever, but people were really excited and going out over there, and it was a game that people will be able to talk about. You know, it's
Salmon.
wonderful. Thank you very much. I'll jump with this.
It's not Ebenezer good, like you say, almost like Roy of the Rovers stuff. That's what they would say if we were on Grandstand about 30 years ago. Right, well, following that 4-4 draw, FC travelled to the side I hold to be Shirley Bassey's favourites, AFC Fylde. And because they're big spenders.
We got it. Yes.
See, Pete, they love anything like that. No, tofu.
Yeah.
No,
I'm a vegan penguin.
Keep that one.
Okay.
Because we're a lovely bunch at FCUM TV, not one press pass was required, and as a result no one filmed it. 3 points though, so back to Gig Lane, and following that 2-0 win on the West Coast, FC were looking to extend their unbeaten run to a rather impressive 10 games in the way Barwell FC.
Brownhill with this corner. 74 minutes. Make sure it's decent. Back post. Header, Wolfie, yes! Wolfie at the back post! He saw that, he placed that beautifully with his head. A crowd of players in the box, and he waited for it. He had a really good look at it. What a fantastic header from Wolfie. Just what this game needed, just what FC needed. Corner ball it is. Yep. So come on, let's get in there. Good header, yes! Exactly. Great finish that, Charlie Ragland, sorry. But another good corner from Liam Brownhill. And they were Tom Davis it was right the first time. They were static really, Barwell. And that'll do us.
Another win there, Alan. 10 games unbeaten, rather impressive. What's standing out there is that beautifully placed header, really, isn't it?
It was a wonderful header. I was stood behind that goal when it went in. It looped in beautifully. I spoke to Wolfie at the end, and he did actually mean it. He convinced me that he meant it anyway, and it was good for him to get off the mark there. I thought it was an excellent performance by him. I thought Barwell came and went for the point. They were 3 or maybe even 4 players down because there'd been a car breakdown on the way. So they'd lost their captain, the centre half, and a couple of other players. And the manager was talking about that to me at the end of the game. And what he gave it away a bit, though, I felt, because he said with them he felt we could have held out, which gave me the impression, he didn't say, oh, we'd have beat you. He said we'd have held out, because obviously the goals came relatively late. And I think that's what they came for. They came for that point anyway. And I think if he'd have had the other players in, I suspect that's what they'd have gone for anyway. So I was really glad to see that result.
And probably no surprise after the first goal, the second one, 10 minutes later, 5 minutes from time, exact same routine, but this time the textbook header downwards.
Yeah, it was a good goal by Davis. I think that the one thing stand out for that in that game for me was basically the fact that we didn't really have a shot on target until the 76th minute, whether we got the goal, and they were stubborn. They were hard to play against, and they defended resolutely and did well. But again, when you don't have any shots on target until the 76th minute, and instead that looping header from Wolfie changed the complexity, a little bit of breathing space for FC United. He felt a little bit more. I think the tension was relieved, and therefore they went on. And great header by Davis, traditional sort of like Gary Pallister, sort of like coming in from deep and getting that header down. It went, and 2-0, and very, very happy with that as well.
Yeah, as stubborn as they were, Swampy, they can't drive. We didn't have any pictures from Fylde, as you see, but that didn't stop people talking about football for years and years before television became ubiquitous. So let's talk about that. I mean, Greg Daniels and Callum Byrne on target up there. Real Sunday school gear, though. Mike Norton in goal for most of the game, with Spencer injured. FC locked out the dressing room at half-time, and an injured ref. So one of the home side's lads having to run the line.
Where do you start with a game like that? To be honest, there's so much. I mean, for me, one of the things that I was disappointed with was obviously the injury to the keeper, because he'd just come back in and he was hoping for a bit of a run. Though You know, I don't think Spider had done much wrong in the build-up to those games. But he was coming in and was hoping for a bit of a run there, and to be injured like that, and it's obviously looks like he's gone for quite a bit of time now. I was absolutely gutted for him. But having said that, the players were so together. Things like those injuries and Norton going in goals sort of really brings people together. And it was always going to be a difficult game there. It was one that was built up as being rivals to go for the promotion run. And I thought we dominated the game all the way through, and the conditions were absolutely appalling. You know, if you look at the Whitton game being called off a few weeks back, there was times during that game where I thought we were going to struggle seeing it through to the 90 minutes. It was the wettest.
Was there a man with an umbrella though trying to conduct the weather?
No, we were that like, I actually thought the tide had come in. It was that wet at one stage.
To be honest, I was actually swimming around the Antarctic at the time, and then all of a sudden I was at Fylde. I couldn't believe it. You know, it was a decent bit of weather for me. I was like summer for me basically, but a great game of football. I think it galvanised the players certainly at half time. I mean, the situation with the dressing rooms is something that's been talked about, but the players having the team talk outside, you know, it galvanised them more. They went out, they could have won by 3 or 4, maybe even 5 in that second half. But
Fylde never responded to the loss of the goalkeeper, which I thought they would have done.
Great performance from FC United, probably my highlight of 2013 thus far. And equally their fans were tremendous. The Tannoy announcer, who again just sort of kept everybody jovial with that 17 minutes waiting for a replacement referee. So again, you know, all told, great result for FC United. Lots of controversy, a lot of talking points in the game, but clearly we don't have enough time on this programme to discuss it.
Well, the referee also.
Let's move on.
Very briefly though, the referee.
Are you sure you don't want any toffee?
The referee said at the end of the game that he would have still carried on. That you could have carried on with 2 people. We thought it might have been a game that he'd have to call off, and I didn't realise that he said at that level we could have, with the time that was left, he'd have carried on the game anyway with just the 2 of them.
Well, Altrincham played Colin Bayer in the season, the FA Trophy, and there was a very similar incident, and that game was abandoned because they couldn't find actually an official. Well, the official they found actually was found to be actually intoxicated, so therefore they didn't find it a particularly good way for him to be refereeing the game. But you know, great performance. Great result for FC United, and you know, it's helped push the team on even more so and bring the players closer and closer.
All good stuff this, particularly for those of us who really miss Charlie Buchan's Football Monthly. So for a look at December's remaining 2 games and the pre-New Year permutations for FC United, here's Marv Willers.
Thank you, Andrew. So yes, a great result over Barwell saw FC take their unbeaten run to 10 games in all competitions. Next up for United was Ashton on Boxing Day, and sadly the festive period couldn't bring the Reds any more good fortune as we suffered a 2-1 defeat. Mike Norton put United ahead on 39 minutes, but 2 second half goals from Ashton and a sending off for Tom Davies handling the ball on the goal line meant that the 11-game unbeaten run was not to be attained. On the 28th, FC travelled to Buxton Silverland Stadium, and this time it was back to winning ways. Goals for Matthew Wolfenden and Mike Norton in the second half led to the FC radio commentators predictably and reassuringly labelling this as a game of 2 halves. I believe it was also jumpers for goalposts. It only takes a second to score a goal, and of course, Chris Waddle. With an attendance of 1,112 at Silverland, it finished Buxton 0, FC United and Manchester 2. Other results on the weekend of the 28th went in the favour of Margie's men as well, as AFC Fylde went down 2-1 at home to Ilkeston FC, a result which not only sees FC United leapfrog them up into 4th position, followed closely by Whitby, who haven't known such exploration since Captain Cook set sail in the HMS Endeavour to Australia. Ripper, mate. The game of the day, perhaps though, was at Worksop, where 3rd placed Worksop Town hosted top of the day at the table Skelmersdale United, and it was the home side who took all 3 points, beating Skem 3-2. That result sees Worksop go into 2nd, just 1 point off the leaders. Are you still with me? Good. Elsewhere, Chorley slipped to 3rd spot following a 2-2 draw at lowly Stocksbridge Park Steels. Chorley though remain strong title contenders, as they still have 3 games in hand over Skelmersdale and Worksop, but are only 3 points behind. At the bottom of the table, it would appear that only a Christmas miracle will save Droylsden, who've taken just 2 points from 27 games, and are the only team in the league to have conceded over 100 goals. Stafford and Stocksbridge also have a long second half of the season ahead of them with 14 and 20 points respectively. The final relegation spot is currently held by Witton Albion, but with games in hand, they are only a couple of wins off safety as Grantham, Frickley and Stamford look very nervously over their shoulders.
Right, Swampy, so a defeat to Ashton there at Hurst Cross. The run came to an end, Norton opening the scoring, which was good to see, but then collapsed really in the last 15.
I'd say, in all fairness, the first 45 minutes, the team quite evenly matched. FC played some of the better football, got in front deservedly as well. Don't know what was said at half time, but whatever it was, it worked for one team and certainly didn't work for the other team. FC United second half, very, very poor. Ashton United came out with the intensity, with quality, with panache, with pace. And in all fairness, I think Ed, our new goalkeeper, who is related to me obviously because Ed's a duck and I'm a penguin, was absolutely superb. Made some blinding saves, and it could have been 2 or 3 before they got the goal from a penalty. Really,
is that the one sort of bright spot that comes out of that second half of that game anyway, Ed Vilsinski, because he's on loan from Huddersfield. We mentioned, or Alan mentioned, the injury to James Chester as well, and he looked quite good.
Yes, he's James Spencer.
James Spencer, sorry, yes.
Forgive me. He used to play for Chester actually, so you got that partly right.
I think that's why I said it.
I think everybody did. Yeah, it was. He's done very well. He's a young lad, obviously, and he's only 19 years of age. I think he's played 4 times for the under-21s, and he's the regular in the under-18s as the overage player for Huddersfield. And I think we were quite fortuitous because the academies are closed at the moment for the Christmas period, so we've got him for a short period of time. But he was excellent, and Ashton, in all fairness, they deserve the 3 points. I don't think Carl could say anything other than really they didn't deserve anything out of the game. Although we had a great chance toward the end, could have been 2-0 up before they got the equaliser. It's also one of them games, the best team on the day, and sometimes that's all you can say is the best team on the day. And Ashton United were very, very different to when we played them in the Dewson Trophy. Chadwick and Pilkington were absolutely magnificent, and they bossed the game, throughout the second half, and it was a massively different contrast to that against Buxton, as I'm sure my esteemed colleague here to my left.
Yeah, back to winning ways there with a 2-0.
Yeah, it was good to get back to winning ways so quickly. It was good to have a game so quickly after Ashton to play like that. And at one stage the game was in doubt because they'd had their game against Matlock had been called off partway through the game because the floodlights had gone. They were unable to get a new part for the floodlights because it was the holiday period. So it looked like there was going to be a problem. The league were talking about was playing midweek at a later stage. The longer the season goes on, the harder it is to play up there. Their pitch suffers a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And we really needed to get the game over with. And also it would have meant there'd have been a week since the Ashton game for people to sit and dwell on. We've got a good record up there, which is quite remarkable really, on that pitch, because not a lot of clubs have a good record up there.
No,
they've got a good home record, but we do quite well up there. It was, again, one of those games where I couldn't see where the breakthrough was going to come through, and Wolfie did a marvellous run. That was an excellent goal the T scored there, and to be honest, they never came back into the game then. We were on top all the way through. Yeah, and I think when we were mentioned the Fylde game before, I think Fylde is probably one of the first games off the top of my head this season where we played for the 90 minutes, because we usually play in a game in blocks in the game, don't we, and then it dies a bit and whatever. And I felt that at Buxton we played for a lot more of the game, and we had a lot more of the possession than we have done for a while, and I thought it was a real good result to come away with from a difficult ground.
Just very quickly, Norton scoring very quickly after Wolfie there.
Yeah.
A clean sheet for the new lad as well.
Yeah.
I mean, just for quickly, is Margie using the squad well this season, do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's difficult sometimes that, from my own personal opinion, when you bring in 3 people on, it can sometimes change the pattern of the game more than, and sometimes it doesn't always need to be changed that way, I think.
Yeah, I think Ashton was a good point there.
I think sometimes, and if you're changing players, sometimes if you're trying to change it for a different method of play particularly, then sometimes putting a similar player into that position, I don't quite know how that can work out. But for the most part, you've got to keep the squad interested. People have got to know that they're going to get a chance out there, and that's the way to do it. And it's a difficult job as a manager to keep so many people happy. There's not many teams at our level that do actually have a proper squad. If you look at the people on the bench there, they could all legitimately say stake a claim to be actually playing.
Excellent, thank you both, Alan, and possibly this Christmas's least attractive bird. That's it then for another month and Toronto 2013. I'm sure you'll agree it was a lot of fun, not least Swampy. And a big thanks obviously to Alan and Andy Walsh. My apologies to the injured Spenner for calling him James Chester again. And you'll find all the highlights, except the ones we didn't film, at FCUM.tv. And you definitely wouldn't be wasting valuable seconds of your existence by following us on Twitter. We're back at the end of January. All the action from another month of hashtag New Year FCUM action. From everyone here at Bring Your Own Ball, a belated Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.